Today on Lord Gizmo, we're following one man's mission to bring a forgotten boat back from the dead. The vessel in question is a 2002 Askeladden 585 Explorer, a 19-foot Norwegian-built fiberglass hull that's seen better days. Before any real work can begin, everything loose gets pulled off the boat. Fire extinguisher, a dated Garmin fish finder, miscellaneous gear, all of it cleared out. A clean workspace isn't just about organization. It's about knowing exactly what you're working with. The boat gets rolled into the garage where the first order of business is stripping every label off the hull, and removing every last trace of the old anti-fouling paint. Anti-fouling paint is the coating on a boat's bottom that prevents barnacles, algae, and other marine organisms from taking hold. Over time, it builds up in layers and needs to be completely removed before fresh coats can bond properly. With the hull bare, a marine-grade chemical cleaner is sprayed across the surface and left to work overnight. These specialized cleaners are formulated to break down salt deposits, oxidation, and biological staining without damaging the fiberglass underneath. Come morning, a homemade remote-controlled tow rig pulls the 1,000-pound boat outside for pressure washing. And that's when the real story reveals itself. Once the loosened grime clears away, surface dents in the hull become plainly visible. These are stress indentations common in older fiberglass boats, and leaving them untreated would show right through any new paint job. Each dent gets carefully prepped, then filled using fiberglass filler mixed with hardener. This is a two-part compound that chemically cures into an extremely hard, sandable surface. Then the epoxy primer gets mixed using a drill-mounted paddle. Epoxy primer is the foundation of any serious marine paint job. It seals the fiberglass, prevents moisture intrusion, and gives the anti-fouling paint something strong to grip. A roller applies it in long, even strokes, making sure every inch below the tape line gets covered. Once the primer cures, anti-fouling paint goes on. The first coat gets rolled out evenly across the entire hull bottom. A second coat is mixed and applied before the tape comes off. And when that masking tape finally peels away, the result is a razor-sharp paint line that looks factory-applied. With the hull sorted, attention moves to the Teak deck, and Teak deserves its own level of respect. It's one of the most durable hardwoods in the world, prized in marine applications for its natural oil content and resistance to rot. But even Teak needs maintenance. An orbital sander runs over the entire floor to open up the grain, then a vacuum pulls away every particle of dust. The wood gets washed down with floor cleaner, sanded a second time, then wiped thoroughly with denatured alcohol. which evaporates almost instantly, leaving the surface bone dry and ready to accept treatment. Teak oil goes on with a brush in long, even strokes, soaking into the grain and restoring the wood's natural golden color. A lint-free cloth removes any excess before it can dry tacky on the surface. The boat cover gets pulled out next, scrubbed by hand and pressure washed clean, then hung up to dry completely. Meanwhile, the old teak caulking gets removed. The black rubber strips that run between teak planks eventually harden, crack, and lose their seal. Every cut strip gets snapped out, and the grooves are refined using a Dremel rotary tool to clean out any residue. Both sides of each groove get masked with tape. Then black marine polyurethane sealant gets applied with a caulking gun. This stuff is specifically engineered to stay flexible through constant expansion, contraction, and exposure to seawater. The tape comes off while the sealant is still slightly wet, the only way to guarantee clean edges. A loose raised section gets screwed back into place, remaining gaps get filled, and a tired old plastic vent gets swapped out for a stainless steel unit. Stainless doesn't corrode, doesn't yellow, and looks the part for years. Now comes one of the most satisfying stages of any restoration, the polish. A handheld orbital polisher works rubbing compound into the hull in overlapping passes from top to bottom. Rubbing compound is a mild abrasive that removes the thin layer of oxidized fiberglass on the surface, revealing the undamaged material beneath. Streak by streak, the hull goes from dull and chalky to deep, mirror-like shine. This isn't cosmetic vanity. A polished hull is also a smoother hull, and a smoother hull moves through water more efficiently. With the hull gleaming, the seat base gets sanded, primed, and painted. The teak floor gets another wipe down with denatured alcohol, and a higher grade teak oil goes on for a second treatment. Then it's time to get into the electronics. A precise circular hole gets cut for a speaker, measured twice, cut once. Speaker wiring gets run through the interior. A second hole is cut for its companion, and both speakers are mounted and screwed firmly into place. Up at the dashboard, a rectangular section gets carefully measured, marked, and cut to accept a new control panel. Wiring gets routed, organized, and connected cleanly behind it. Next up is the fish finder system. And this is where things get interesting. The new Garmin unit includes a GPS chart plotter and a transducer, and installing it correctly is anything but plug and play. Mounting holes for the bracket get drilled, and every single hole gets filled with marine sealant before hardware goes in. On a boat, any unsealed penetration through the hull is a potential leak point. No exceptions. The transducer is the most critical component in the system. It sends sonar pulses downward through the water and reads the return signals to map depth, underwater structure, and fish location in real time. It gets mounted to the transom, the flat rear section of the hull, and its cables are carefully routed through the interior from stern to bow, where the display unit mounts up front. Once the bracket and holder are secured and all connections made, the fish finder is ready to go. The old trailer gets retired and replaced with a new one rated to handle the boat's weight safely. Using an underspec trailer isn't just bad practice, it's a highway hazard. The boat gets lifted with a floor jack, and the new trailer gets backed manually into position underneath it. Precise, slow work. The battery gets unbolted from its wiring and pulled from the battery box. Custom waterproof 3D printed molds are fabricated to protect the main power switch and circuit breaker from spray and moisture. The battery box gets new mounting brackets bolted to its floor, the battery is set in and secured, and the box is sealed up tight. A new helm seat goes in next, swivel mounted to the floor so the operator can rotate to check the stern or talk to passengers without leaving the wheel. Before launch, the boat gets a thorough final clean. Every surface, every corner, every crevice. The table gets waxed. Surfaces get wiped down. Once dry, fresh upholstery goes onto the seating. Marine-grade foam covered in UV resistant. But the job isn't done until the engine runs right. The fuel pump isn't building proper pressure, a classic symptom of a clogged fuel filter or water contamination in the tank. The old filter and fuel line get removed, and sure enough, a water-gasoline mixture drains out. Water in the fuel system is one of the most common causes of outboard engine failure, especially in boats that have sat for a season. A new filter with an integrated water separator goes in. This type of filter physically separates water from fuel before it ever reaches the engine. The engine runs for a cycle to flush out any remaining water in the system, and then attention turns to the cooling circuit. On an outboard motor, the impeller is a rubber paddle wheel inside the water pump that circulates cooling water through the engine. When it fails, the engine overheats, and a seized outboard can mean thousands of dollars in damage. The entire cooling system comes off the engine and gets taken to the workbench, where a new impeller, water pump housing, gaskets, and impeller key all go in together. It reassembles as a complete unit and bolts back onto the engine with a fresh, tight seal. Gear oil is next. The lower unit, the gear case below the waterline, gets its drain plugs pulled and the old oil drained completely. Fresh gear oil goes in via vacuum pump through the bottom plug until it reaches the correct level. This is routine maintenance that most boat owners skip, and most boat transmissions that fail were never serviced properly. The thermostat system gets disassembled, cleaned up with a knife and alcohol, and fitted with a new thermostat. A thermostat regulates engine operating temperature. Too cold, and it runs inefficiently. Too hot, and it destroys itself. One last issue before the water: the steering wheel. Paint remover gets applied and left to work, but it barely touches the old finish. So out comes the sanding grinder, and that does the job. The surface gets smoothed down with sandpaper. The finger grip channels get refined by hand, and a protective finish gets applied to both the wheel and the cup holder. The results speak for themselves. The 2002 Askeladden 585. Explorer, once neglected, now fully restored. Gets transported to the water for its first run in years. Every system is rebuilt. Every surface is treated, every detail considered. That's not just a boat restoration. That's a masterclass in doing the job right. We'll see you in the next one, right here on Lord Gizmo.